Hi all, Bones here from Oz Bantams again, and welcome back to the workshop. We're progressing the D1 Rigid bike and getting a few things done. So currently wheels are away, getting new tyres and tubes in it. When they come back, I'll be able to refit a new sprocket on the back and change bearings out and all that sort of stuff. But we'll go for a bit of a wander around and we'll show you where we're up to. Alright, so we have cleaned off the frame, and that's just got a coat of that stuff there, inox lanolin spray. So that's looking really good. Heat stem bearings, after they're cleaned up, they're looking really good as well. Over here on the bench, Justy's just going through the carby, which was just a bit grungy. You can see the colour of the residual oil that was left in the float bowl. But we'll get that cleaned up and put back together. Put a new fuel hose with inline fuel filter in. Right here is what I'm going to be doing with the electronic ignition. Alright, so what we have here is the original stator plate. I have taken off sorry, this isn't the original stator plate that came with the bike. This is another one I had that was so just fitting up brake shoes to the rear brake backing plate. Just a bit of grease on the cam. So these are being cleaned out, like the hole in the backing plate has been cleaned out of rust. So I'll just line this up. Just get the nut on. These are cycle thread. So I asked the customer to remove his old brake shoes and get rid of them. So he's got asbestos in his shed and not in mine, because I'm not willing to take the risk. And then you just got to lever them up to clip them in. There's your brake shoes in. So I'll go on and do the front brake now. So we've just emptied out you're not going to be able to see in there, the vinegar out of the tank. And what I'm about to do now is knock all the rust that's left in there out. I just throw small lengths of chain in. good. Actually, something to note, difference between the rigid and the plunger center stands. See a little smaller teardrop shape, whereas the plunger stands go a lot further down. They're a lot longer taper. We'll get some weld zapped up onto this. Just let it go. The reason I'm using spatter guard is because there's a lot of bare metal areas on this where the paint's worn off. We'll give that a wash off after I finish welding. The lovely sound of rain on the roof. So I've dressed the ends of these up. So the easiest way I find to put all this together is actually hook this spring up, use your bar as a lever to lever it all in place. Just hooking my spring up. There we go. So this has gone together pretty well. Let's do that up. That's certainly sitting at a lot better angle. And where I've repaired the tabs on the center stand, they're both contacting the center stand stop plate at the same time, so I'm pretty happy with that too. Right, that's how our setup ended up. So if the bike is something like that, that'll work. You can still see that there's a tiny bend in this loading up, and I think some of it, these holes in here are badly elongated, and I'm not going to build them up with weld, and I'm not going to like re-drill them out because you just burn all the paint away. And as long as you don't sit on the bike while you're starting it and that sort of thing, you'll be right. But yes, you can see where I've welded. I'll just leave that to rust up. I mean, I'm not going to get a paint colour match and it's starting to rust up anyway. So here we have them. The rolling elements for the headstand bearings. Probably the job I hate the most. But anyway. So 24 top, 24 bottom. As you can see, I'm putting the bottom ones in first. And then I will drop the forks in, cable tie it on, as you've probably seen me do it before anyway. And then flip the whole lot over. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, so we've got the bike flipped over, and now it's time to put the rolling elements in the top cup. You can see the orange jockey strap there. It's just pulling the centre stand and locking it forward while we get all this set up. Okay, we've got all our rolling elements in. Time for the top cone to go in. So I'll get that on. Wipe off the excess. And I'm pretty happy with that. It's all sealed up. Dust cap. Now the other thing is your top yoke goes on, and don't forget to put these rings on here which stop the forks actually pulling through your top yoke. You know the difference between these ones and the ones on top, because these ones are a lot thicker. So we'll get the top yoke on and we'll be right to go. It's going together well. So top yoke on, and just centralise it with your forks. Right, that's right there. And then the larger nut goes on, and it's got a recess in here which faces down. So these are only going on hand tight, and the reason for that is I'll wait till I get all my forks on, way to the front wheel, then I'll check my slop in my bearings. And the cable tie can come off. That feels actually really good like that. So we'll get the rest of the hardware on. Top nuts, fork top nut, sorry, handlebars. We'll keep going. So as you can see, we've got the front end on, front wheel in, new wheel bearings in, new brakes. All the front end is together. Head stem tensioned up with the wheel and everything on it. So the only thing I've got to do now, which is this note here, is actually pump the forks up with some grease. I take the original grease nipples, the Ticker Limit grease nipples out, and put modern ones in them so I can use a proper grease gun to get a heap of grease into it. So we're progressing really well. We're very happy. Justin's done all the rectification work on the engine. So the engine will be going back together on, well, Monday now, it's the weekend. I'll get this back wheel done, and then it's into the electrics, wiring it up and sorting out the tail light. So this bike might be going by Tuesday next week if all keeps going the way it is. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of what we're up to on this wonderful 1951 D1 Rigid. To all my subscribers, thanks very much. Really appreciate your support. And so from Justin and I at BSA Bantams, we'll see you later.